Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Now, I was asked this question and I want to respond to it and mention some other things along with it. The question was regarding the jar majroor used in both of these ayat. We have here فَنَفَخْنَا فِيهِ and here فَنَفَخْنَا فِيهَا. So obviously they're referring to two different things. And what I'll explain is what they are referring to, as well as the context of both of these ayat, and why the difference. There's actually a few differences in these ayat that I want to explain. So first of all, I just want to say that the ayah here in Surat Al Tahreem, ayah number 12, is a more specific ayah. And the one in Surat Al Anbiya is a general ayah. That's the first point. Now I'll explain this. What's important is to understand the context of these ayat. If you actually read the context, the ayah in Surat Tahreem is talking about women, specifically women. Imra'atu Nuh, Imra'atu Lut, and Imra'atu Fir'aun. The wives of Nuh alayhi salam, Lut alayhi salam, and Fir'aun, la'natullahi alayhi. And in that context, this ayah is coming. While this ayah here, if you read the previous ayat, it's mentioning many of the prophets that came before, as well as their parents. And in this context, Maryam alayhi salam was mentioned, along with Isa. So as I said, this ayah is specific, the one in Surah Tahreem. And what's mentioned is her name, Maryam bint Imran. So her name is mentioned. That's specific. And then we have the sifa, التي أحصنت فرجها, the one who guarded her chastity. Now I've spoken about this before. The word farj literally means a breach or an opening. So for example, in the sky, وَمَا لَهَا مِن فُرُوجٍ, there is no cracks or no openings in the sky. Now in these two ayat, the word farj actually has two different meanings. In the metaphorical sense, it's referring to chastity. Now here, we have التي أحصنت فرجها. So it's mentioned here. But here her name is mentioned. So that's one indication to show that this ayah is more specific. And it says فَنَفَخْنَا. So then we blew. Now this is part of Allah's majesty. He uses the plural because this is referring to Him sending down an angel to do this for him. So here, nafakhna refers to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this dhamir here. But it's referring to His majesty, His greatness. So He sends an angel to do this. Jibreel alayhi salam. And similarly here, فَنَفَخْنَا. So He blew, here it says, into her garment. Now this is an important point here. Here we have the masculine singular, and here we have the feminine singular. So obviously they're referring to two different things. And when we mention a pronoun, there needs to be something that this pronoun refers to, something mentioned earlier. If you go back in the ayah, who or what is mentioned? This is feminine here. So obviously the only person mentioned is التي أحصنت فرجها, Maryam alayhi salam. So we blew into her. Here it's a general statement. We blew into her. While here is we blew into it. Now the reason I say it is because if you go back in the ayah, the only thing mentioned that is masculine is the farj. What scholars say about this is it refers to the opening in her garment. So here it's referring to specifically where the ruh, the spirit, was blown into Maryam alayhi salam. While here it's general. We blew into her. To explain this in more detail, if for example somebody hit Khalid, and the person could say, the one that hit Khalid could say ضربته, meaning I hit Khalid. That dhamir could refer to Khalid. It could also refer to the place that he hit Khalid. So for example, if he hit him in, for example, the head, he could also say ضربته, and that pronoun could refer to Khalid's head or some other part. So by saying I hit Khalid, more general, while when the pronoun refers to the place that he hit, it's more specific. And that's similar to what's happening here, that he blew into her, and here he blew into it, the opening in her garment, the opening that was secure. So here ahsanat farjaha. So even here the word farj has a different meaning from here. Here it's generally speaking, the one who guarded her chastity, while here it's the one who guarded her chastity, but it's talking about the physical. So here, as we said, it's more specific. And here, min ruhina, from our ruh, min ruhina, and then there's the plural of majesty as well in both ayat, to indicate the greatness of this ruh, Isa alayhi salam. And then what we have is a difference in the ending. It says here, وَصَدَّقَتْ بِكَلِمَاتِ رَبِّهَا وَكُتُبِهِ. So she believed in the words of her Lord and his scriptures. وَكَانَتْ مِنَ الْقَانِتِينَ. And she was of those who were devoutly obedient. So here it's talking specifically about Maryam alayhi salam. And the context is one talking about women, if you read the ayat before. While here, it's وَجَعَلْنَاهَا وَإِبْنَهَا, and we made her and her son, Isa alayhi salam, ayatan lil'alamin, as signs for the worlds. Lil'alamin means for all mankind. Now I've spoken about this word al-alamin in the course on Surat Al-Fatiha, and actually talk about this word alamin in a lot of detail. So that's just briefly about these ayat. وصلى سيد محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.